Everything is changing, growing, and evolving, even you. From the nurse's student to the baby nurse, off the bedside nurse and into entrepreneurship, you have evolved. So now we're here at the Evolved Nurse Podcast. I'm your host, Lakeisha, and let's get right into the episode. So today we have a nurse who has overcome various obstacles to be where she is today. She has turned her nursing career into a passion and is now using humor to educate us on reproductive and vaginal health through her platform and has dived headfirst into entrepreneurship. Let's welcome Mphatso, the Zulu Nurse, to the Evolved Nurse Podcast.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
Girl, so if you have listened to the Evolved Nurse Podcast, you know what our first question is. It's always, did you initially want to become a nurse?
No, I did not. When one of the things that people ask kids growing up, like 7, 8 years old, is what do you want to be when you grow up? People were saying doctor, lawyer, all these different
Mm-hmm.
things. I said I want to be the first African American female drafted into the NFL. That was my desire
Mm-hmm.
growing up. I love football. I watched Michael Vick play and I was mesmerized by his athleticism. And that's who I wanted to be. Okay. And
Girl,
reality hit me real quick.
look.
Reality hit me real quick and I had to find a plan B fast.
Mm-hmm. Girl, when I was younger, I wanted to play football, but my dad, he was just like, you are not playing football. I don't care
Mm,
what you say. If they hit you the
mm.
wrong way, it's going to be over with. But
And
you
he
know
ain't
what?
lied. He ain't lied.
He would say that with everything, girl. I wanted to be a boxer after watching $1 Million Baby. And he was like, Keisha, if somebody hit you wrong, you're going to want to take off them gloves and you're going to want to fight for real.
He ain't lied. He
So
ain't lied.
he really blocked my opportunity from being a football player and a boxer. But he
No,
also blessed me because I probably would be in jail.
probably. We're gonna thank Dad for that. We're gonna thank Dad for that.
Okay, so can you tell me about your experience with football?
Well, I currently play for a semi-pro team
Mm-hmm.
here in Atlanta, Atlanta Rage. Absolutely love the team and the organization. We play for the WFA, Women's Football Alliance, and it's a semi-pro team, full tackle, not no lingerie type football.
Ooh,
No, not
not a
that.
flag football.
No,
We
not a
are out here
flag.
playing, y'all.
Yes, tackle, helmets, pads, the get up. And it's super fun. So that's what I do in my spare time. I think it's so important that you have an outlet outside of nursing. Because when you absorb yourself or become obsessed with the profession of nursing, a profession that takes more than it gives,
Mm-hmm.
that's how you find those bitter nurses at 40, 50 years old on the unit trying to make everybody else's life miserable
Yeah.
because that's all they have. You know what I'm saying? That's
That's
all they
all they
have.
have. That's
That
all. That's
that's
the only thing that they
and that's
are.
exactly, and that's their only identity. But I really, you have to find something outside of being a nurse, that you that I almost want to say you love more,
Yeah, you love and that you're
essentially.
passionate about.
Yeah, and that's what football is for me.
I love that for you because so many people are wrapped up in the I'm a nurse and that's all I am and it's all encompassing.
Hmm.
So to the new nurses who feel like the only thing you want to be is a nurse, find something in addition to that that makes you happy in the times that you feel like your job isn't what it should be or you feel like nurses week isn't what it should be. And you
That part.
tired of getting a pizza, but you know that
Hmm.
you deserve more. Find something that feeds you more than what nursing does.
Correct. 100%.
So we're gonna take a trip back
Mm.
because you're a nurse now.
Hmm.
How was nursing school? How was that nursing school experience for you?
Um, you know that poem that Langston Hughes said, "Life ain't been no crystal stair."
Girl,
One of
yes.
my favorite poems, yes. That's how the nursing school journey was for me. Okay.
Mhm.
It was very tumultuous. You know, people go, they graduate high school, they get into a college, they sign up for their prerequisites, they get into the nursing program, they graduate, and they get their nursing job.
Mhm.
That was not my experience whatsoever. When I started nursing school, I went to a HBCU. Mind you, it's a private school. I went to HBCU in Huntsville, Alabama, called Oakland University, and I started there 2012. Was my was the beginning of my nursing journey, and I guess I know I'm aging myself. So, but it's
Girl,
all right. It's all right.
we all a little
Um,
aged
you
here.
know, you know. So I started that, and when it comes to my experience, if there is someone who is an expert in flunking nursing school, it is I, because I flunked so many times and had to start over so many times, um, that it became, oh, it was almost became a sport, essentially. And it wasn't on purpose. And that's the thing too. It wasn't on purpose that I was failing or that I didn't care. I just was naive at how much tenacity and discipline and work ethic it took to
Mhm.
get through the nursing program. You know, I remember my advisor was like, for the next 4 years, we own you. Like that
Ooh,
literally was her
I'm t
introductory speech.
welcome to death row.
Welcome to death row. I'm serious. Like she said, for the next 4 years, you're gonna eat, live, breathe, sleep, nursing. And I remember her saying, "I'm like, this girl crazy, not me. Like I
Girl,
want to have fun. I want to enjoy my college experience. I want to do it all, you know." And that's what I really try to do. But I hate to say it, Auntie did not lie. Like
girl,
you really have to succumb to it. And because I was so hard headed and stubborn, I kept failing. I kept
oh,
failing.
so take me through that first fail. So what happened with that?
So I went through my I was doing my nursing prerequisites, and so the way my program was set up was that you can apply while you're still taking your prerequisites, and they'll give you a
Mhm.
pre-acceptance based off of whatever your final grades are at the end of the semester.
That's
So
nice.
yeah, so I managed to get through the first semester, and then it was the second semester, and it was an English class. I just didn't get a high enough grade, and my GPA was short. So I got the acceptance letter, but by the end of when the grades came out, when the final grades came out, I had not essentially failed the English class, but the grade just wasn't high enough to boost my GPA to have an accepting GPA to get
Mhm.
into the program the next year. And the way that program was set up is that they only did nursing courses once a year. So if you didn't get in
Oh,
that year,
wow.
you had to wait a whole another year to get into nursing, to get back into the program. And when I got that letter of rejection, oh my gosh, I remember falling to the floor in the hallway in front of my mom because I was just like, I didn't get in the program, and I just I didn't understand why.
Girl, we
Uh,
always fall into the floor.
yeah, gotta be dramatic with it. Falling to the floor because you really feel like your life is over. You really feel like you know you're expecting to go to do something, and now when you're in college, things become a little bit more serious,
Mhm.
because now you're paying for school. Now you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot of things that are technically inconvenient to get this degree so you could have a better life. So things become a little bit more weighted when things go wrong in college. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and I remember my friend who lived down the street from me, I told her mom what happened, and she said, because I was thinking like, okay, maybe I need to do something else. Maybe this is a sign that nursing
Yeah.
is not for me. And she was just like, no, the year is gonna pass anyway. Go ahead, finish taking your prerequisites, and then when the next year comes, you can just get right back into the program, and
Mhm.
all you have to focus is those nursing classes. So I was like, all right, cool, fine. So I packed all my prerequisites and other electives onto that 1 year, from chemistry to micro to um, other electives and stuff like that. I packed it all into 1 year, and I just did that for the year. And then I was able to get back into the program the following year. So now I'm a year behind, technically speaking.
Mhm.
I should have been graduating 2016, but now my estimated uh, graduation date is now 2017. All right, cool. Now I make a whole new set of nursing friends. Um, so I get into the program, and so this is now I'm going into this year. Now, mind you, I told you this is a private school, so things are costly. So I get a
Girl,
job as an
yes.
RA. I become involved with these other extracurricular activities with it comes helping with the church because it is a Christian school that I was going to. So they're really like heavy with like Christian activities and church activities and stuff like that. So I was helping out with that. I think I was like president of the African club at the
Girl.
time, and I had a little booth thing. So my plate was full.
Full.
And the more I
Tipping
tried,
over.
yes, honey. And the more I tried to focus on nursing, it just unfortunately would just continue to get the back burner, continue to get the back burner, continue to get the back burner. Um, and so much so to where I'm like literally falling asleep during the test. Like that's how
Girl.
much it was just like consuming me. And once again, I was stubborn. I didn't want to pay attention to the signs. I knew I was drowning. I knew I was drowning and struggling,
Mm-hmm.
but didn't want to pay attention to the signs. I was like, I could do this. I could do this. The end of the year comes and my GPA is short by like 0.02 in order for me to get to the next level.
So
And yeah, go ahead.
let's just revisit how nursing school has to have a balance.
Mhm.
And in that balance, it's never equal.
Yeah.
It's always nursing school has to come first. Now, there
Mhm.
are the occasional people that are able to be outside, be with their friends, have a
Mhm.
life, be a RA, be on
Mhm.
call at night when you're a RA,
Mhm.
have an
Mhm.
additional job, then you have a boo.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we always see, like, I've seen people after nursing school, they get divorced.
Mm.
Like, the people
Mm.
that are dedicated to nursing school, at the
Mhm.
end of nursing school, if they don't have a supportive spouse, they end
Mm.
up getting divorced.
Mercy. Yeah.
So, the balance in nursing school, and to our nursing students that are listening to this, who feel like I can't hang out with my friends, I can't do all the things that I want to do. Right now, it's not about what you want to do,
Right.
it's about what you need to do.
Correct. 100%.
Okay, you can go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, that was a good plug. Um, so now I'm just kind of like I got to figure out something because I've
Mhm,
spent 3 years in college at this point, and I need to. My mom was like, "You don't just because I didn't. I really didn't know what to do because I'm just like I can't wait another year to get back into the program.
mhm,
You know what I mean? I can't wait another year to get back into the program. This school costs, you know? So she was just like, come out with another degree and we could figure out something else later. So at that time, the goal was to be a pediatric nurse. So I was like
mhm,
I was a nursing major with a minor child development. And so I just made my minor my major. So I majored in child development and family studies. And I said that's what I was going to graduate with. So that summer going into my senior year, I had the opportunity. I'm South African, so I went back home to South
mhm,
Africa and I did an internship at this orphanage where I was working at this orphanage in South Africa with one of my friends that came with me. And we lived on in the orphanage, we lived with the kids and all that kind of stuff. And I'm making myself open now. I'm being open to, okay, okay, it's not nurse. Clearly, it's not nursing because it's not working out.
yeah.
So, maybe God wants me to be a social worker. Maybe I need to be a marriage and family therapist. Maybe I
Anything
need
under
to
the
be a
sun.
teacher. Maybe I need to be, all these other, fulfilling other professions
Mhm.
in the world. You know what I'm saying? So I get to this orphanage and I'm with the kids and all this kind of stuff. And next thing you know, I'm like doing things like some of the kids had HIV. So I'm here
Mhm.
passing their meds, making sure they're getting their meds on time. When the kids will have a wound or cut themselves or fall, scrape, kids being kids, they would send them to me for me to like bandage up their wounds and clean it and all that kind of stuff. And then there was a ringworm outbreak, and the
Girl.
lady who was running the orphanage, she was just like, "Oh, everyone's gonna get it. It's fine. It's ringworm. It's a part of life. You know, it's whatever." And I said, "The hell it is." And so now I found myself quarantining and separating the kids who had the
Look at
ringworm
the
and the kids who didn't,
epidemiologist.
who didn't have the ringworm and all that. And I'm here putting ointments on them. I said, "Oh, y'all stay away from each other," like
Hmm.
really and truly. And I remember one night I went back to the room with my friend, and she was like, "You've been doing a whole lot of like medical slash nursing stuff." I said, "You did not lie." And I was just like, and I had to sit in that moment and take full responsibility that the only reason why I am not where I need to be when it comes to being a nurse was solely because of me. Not because
Hmm.
God gave me this sign that I'm not supposed to be it or anything like that, but because I was not disciplined, I was not focused, and I did not have the work ethic that it took in order to become a nurse at that
You
point in time.
it really takes. First of all, we always gonna give a shout out to a good friend who sees
Mhm.
you when you don't see yourself. Like when you're
Mhm.
not able to see the value in yourself or acknowledge the purpose in your life. A lot of times if you have a good friend who knows who you are, who sees you for who you are, they will challenge you sometimes.
Mhm.
They may say things that you don't necessarily want to hear in the moment, like you have to do this. Because
Mhm.
sometimes you don't want to hear like this is your purpose because you're so wrapped up in the fact that I already failed 2 times. I'm not going through that anymore.
Right. Right.
But when they bring it to your attention, it's really, really a good friend is everything.
Mhm.
It's really great that she went ahead and she highlighted that for you so that you would be where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. And once I took responsibility and ownership of my shortcomings with it, because God can give you the goal, can give you the vision all you want. Like
Mm-hmm.
he can give it to you, he can give you the dream, but if you don't have the work ethic and the zeal to get it done, it's not gonna come to pass, you know? And a lot of times we try to find the shortcut to the dream,
Oh,
and
girl.
there is no shortcut. It's getting on your hands and knees and mopping and scrubbing the floor to get the job done.
And sometimes with a toothbrush.
And sometimes with a toothbrush. Exactly. And so I remember I sat with that, and once I accepted it, I went back to school and I hit the ground running.
Mm-hmm.
Cause at this point you can't tell me nothing. I'm going to be a nurse if it kills me,
I
you
love
know?
that.
And I oh, and one thing that I did say,
Mm-hmm.
what I find important is that you have to know your why. If
Okay.
you
And
if you don't know what your why is with anything that you're doing, it will not feel worth it. It
That
will not
that
feel
is
worth it.
so true. It's never going to be fulfilling. You're always going to
Mhm.
be looking for what the next thing is. That's why you
Mhm.
see so many nurses who bounce in and out of different specialties, of course, because we can,
Mhm.
but also because that doesn't align with what I feel like I need.
Mhm.
So let me see if this aligns. And that's the beauty of nursing
Mhm.
is that you have the ability to utilize your nursing degree in various
Different
ways.
ways. Mhm. Correct.
But when you hit the ground running and now it's a grind time,
Yeah.
now you a beast. You like, I gotta get to it. I'm
Mhm.
channeling my inner football. We
Mhm.
are aggressive with this thing right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
What was your why?
My why came from when I was working at that orphanage, and I had this little kid. He was about 3 years old. His mother neglected him really, really bad. He
Mhm.
was way behind developmental stages, and he was. I think they found him when he might have been like 2.5, almost three. Didn't know how to walk, not because he couldn't or had any like issues, but just
Mhm.
simply because he was not given, was not taken care of. It was almost like his mom just left him in the crib and that was it.
Oh
And
wow.
and meant to fend for himself. He didn't know how to chew solid food. A mouthful of teeth, didn't know how to chew. He of course was not speaking because nobody was talking to him clearly. And he did this thing that just really broke my heart. One of the things that kids have to have in order to begin developmenting and building connections with people is they have to be cradled. They have to
Mm-hmm.
be cradled and they have to be rocked. You can tell that he was severely neglected because he would rock himself to sleep.
Wow.
Just imagine seeing like a 2.5, 3 year old baby in the crib, in their bed, rocking themselves to sleep because that's how they learned how to survive.
And they didn't have anybody
And they
to
didn't
rock
have
them.
anybody. Correct. And it broke my heart. So I took a real liking to this kid. And I spoke to him. I took my time with him. I just poured love into him as much as possible. So much so to where by the end of it, he was calling me mama. And it
Mm.
tears me up to this point, like to this day. And when I left the orphanage, came back to the United States and started school, get back with school, I got a call about 6 or 8 months later, and I got word that he had a seizure and passed away. And it tore me up. It tore
I
me up
know it
because
did.
in my mind, I was coming back for him. Like
You
I
once I
said,
get myself
yes,
together,
when I get myself together,
start
I'm
making some
coming
money, I'm
back for
coming
you
back.
because me and you both can't stay in my dorm room. Okay,
Mm-mm.
the dorm room barely big enough for me. I can't put another mouth in there. Okay,
And
so
you were a RA too, so you know we be looking for stuff.
correct, correct.
And a
So
baby?
and a baby at that. So I say, yeah, I'm gonna come back for you because that was my plan was to come back for him.
Mhm.
And um, he passed away, and I was just so devastated. And I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, it was the negligence of the staff or they weren't educated because at the end of the day, South Africa is in Africa one of the most developed medical countries there is.
Mhm.
So, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it was due to negligence, but we do know that seizures in babies are very detrimental and
Yeah.
can be fatal, no matter what precautions you may take. And so, but what I did put in me is that I wanted to get the knowledge and the medical skill set in order to bring back to South Africa to implement in orphanages
Mhm.
specifically, and to teach the staff and have medical resources and supplies for orphanages in South Africa.
Because we
So,
know you were Mphatso, the
mhm.
epidemiologist nurse, is gonna come back and do all that she can, and, that's the
Correct,
beauty of it, though.
correct. That was my why. And so I'm like, I can't fulfill that until I get through this. And that's
Mhm.
nursing school. And that's getting the education, that's getting the experience, that's getting the skill set that I need in order to take back to South Africa. So, that's what fueled my why. So when I didn't feel like studying, when I didn't feel like, paying attention in class, when I didn't feel like going to clinical, I tapped into that
Mhm.
why in order to fuel me to keep going. Because it's not about what you feel like doing. And that's one thing that people realize is that too, you have to learn quickly. Motivation is a feeling. Everybody's motivated the first day of class.
Yes.
Everybody's motivated for it. Everybody got their notebooks out, their pen and paper,
They're writing
you,
everything
they're writing
down.
everything down, highlighters, all the works. But you see who the real ones are standing at the end of the semester. And the ones who are standing at the end of the semester were not solely just motivated, but they were disciplined.
Yes.
They were disciplined and they put the feelings with the action.
Girl, because if you go based off of feelings, you're gonna feel like you don't wanna get up out of bed and do this.
Hmm.
You're gonna
Correct.
It was times where I had to just roll out of bed and hit the floor so I could get up.
Correct.
Because
Correct.
if I didn't, I was just gonna lay there and sulk in my little misery and my
Hmm.
little failure and feeling like I
Hmm.
couldn't do what I needed to do.
Hmm.
But once you become dedicated and disciplined and you feel like that is the end game for me.
Hmm.
After
Yeah.
this, it's no more nursing.
Correct. Correct. And so when I came back, now I'm thinking, okay, I'm ready to be a nurse. I'm ready to get into nursing school. I had to finish my current degree, which was child development.
Mhm.
So as I was doing that, I was applying for nursing schools. I was applying to different programs, and because I know I was going to come out with a degree, I was geared towards universities and accelerated programs. I knew I didn't want to do like a full 4 year program, but I was really looking for like accelerated programs to do.
Mhm.
And I was applying. I think I applied to about 4 to 5 schools, I believe. A lot. I applied to a lot.
Mhm.
And this is where I bring in like my third failure where I feel like I I technically failed essentially because due to the fact that I had already failing, I had already failed twice, and it shows on your transcripts. Nursing programs didn't even want to touch me.
Yeah, your
They didn't,
liability.
yeah, because it's always about the optics and
Mm-hmm.
all this kind of stuff. And one thing about it is that when you're a student of color, you got to be 10 times better.
Girl, and I
You got to be
hate
10
it.
times better because,
I hate that for us.
Sally could have, all B's, but if you got all A's and one C, Sally getting a spot, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So, and then that's just the reality of what it is that we're going through. I mean, and granted, it might have felt that way to me at the time, but at the end of the day, I knew that I knew what the game was,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to getting into this nursing program. So I remember just getting all these rejection letters because I'm applying, I'm applying, I'm applying, I'm applying. And it's rejection letter after rejection letter after rejection letter.
Girl.
And it's getting now towards April, close to graduation season. And, people are like, oh, what's next? What's next? What's next?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. My nursing friends, they're getting ready to graduate and they're looking at, their program or like they're
Mm-hmm.
looking into like what
Jobs
jobs
now.
they want to get, because they're coming out and getting a job. And I'm coming out with like, what am I about to do with this piece of paper? you
Right.
know? Um, and I'm not gonna lie, I hit the floor one day and I just was crying out to God and I said, God, you told me I was gonna be a nurse. Like, why can I get into these programs?
Mm.
Why am I getting these rejection letters? They're saying because I've already failed, that's why they don't want to accept me into their program. So it's like, is it not, did I not hear correctly?
Ugh,
Did I not like,
girl.
like what is happening? And eventually I just kind of like after pleading my heart sorrows, I just got to this point of acceptance of like, okay, let me not miss out on this grand moment, you know,
Yeah.
because graduating, whatever degree I'm leaving with, is still an accomplishment, you know,
You
it's
you
still
better
an
say it.
accomplishment. It's still something of magnitude and something to give a round of applause to because not everybody just graduates from college, a
Mm-hmm.
4-year degree at that. You know what I'm saying? So I put the future plans on the back burner for a little bit. I immerse myself in the senior activities and the
Living
graduation
your life like it's
festivities,
golden.
you know what I'm saying, and just say, I'll deal with that after graduation. I'll figure out a plan. If I gotta work for a year doing something, that's fine. I'll do that. And I want to say this to people as well. It hurts to see your friends walking across the stage with their nursing
Yes.
degree and you're not one of them. It hurts. Or to see your friends move forward as you're having to repeat a class.
That is
I know it hurts. I've cried those tears. I've shed those tears. I know. But
I
one
have
thing that
as
I will
well.
say, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I will say is that yes, it's painful, but it's only temporary. It feels like the world is over, but I promise you, the day at the end of the day, the day gonna end.
What
And the sun is going to come out tomorrow. Give
mm-hmm.
yourself time to cry, dry your tears, dust yourself off, get back up, and figure out a new plan.
Yes, because girl, my plan was everything under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Like once I failed that first nursing class I had to sit out for a semester, I was like, I got my bachelor's in biology. I took my GRE already because I was gonna go to PA school. I was like, if all else fails, I'll go teach.
Yep.
If
Yep.
all else fails, I have the credentials to be a science teacher somewhere.
Correct. Yeah. And sometimes you make peace with another plan, and I think
Mhm.
it's a safety net, sort of thing. And I don't think anything is particularly wrong with that. Um, Because at the end of the day, we bills got to be paid. You
Girl.
can't just sit around and do nothing. You know, like unless you just got it like that. I don't know people's situations, but I just want to say that as we're nearing graduation season or in
Mhm.
graduation season, and you're seeing people getting the award that you want, it's okay. Your time is coming soon enough.
Your journey is
So
your journey.
your journey is your journey. So the next thing you know, I graduate, and my godmom, she hits me up and was like, "Hey, have you considered the community college?" And I said, "No, I haven't. I haven't considered it. I was more so hyper focused on the accelerated program."
Hmm.
And she said, "Just give it a chance. It's a 2-year program. If you take 3 semesters, you can sit for your LPN, and then while getting your RN, and let that's the idea." And it's like, to me, go back to school for 2 years, and it's like the time gonna pass anyway. Like
Look,
either
your
you do.
godmom came through with a plan for you. She was sitting there. She was like, "This is what she can do. I know she has it hard right now, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna make a way
Mhm.
for my baby
Mhm.
to get in."
Yep. And she taught at that school too. So I was just kind of like, all right, cool. Let me go ahead and apply. I applied, and these schools sometimes, boys. I was in Huntsville, Alabama at the time. I graduated and I moved back home to Atlanta because the plan was to go to school in Atlanta
Hmm.
and commute from home to go to school. And I applied. I kind of high key just forgot about it because at this point I'm so used to so many rejection letters. I'm like, whatever, I'll apply for the sake of applying. And literally, I get a letter in the mail saying, "Hey, you've been accepted into our program. Class starts next week." I said, "What?" So I give a hallelujah shout to God, give a hallelujah shout to God, and pack my little car up and go back to Huntsville. And let me tell you how God just sets everything up. When the time is right, He will make it happen. So I go back to Huntsville, and so now it's just kind of like, what do I do now?
Hmm.
I'm in this program, and I told you I was an RA. The head dean of that dorm calls and was like, "Hey, would you be interested in being an assistant dean for the dorm?" And it will pay, you have to live in the dorm. It will pay of course, your expenses will be covered. So you're not paying rent or electricity and all this kind of stuff since I'm
Hmm.
living in the dorm. And this will be your pay. And, that was that. And the job was literally 12, if not 15 minutes from the job. I mean, from the school.
Okay,
So I was
everything fell into place.
everything fell into place. And when God's hand is on your life, that's exactly what will happen. It will fall into place. He may not come when you want him, but he
Wait,
comes
what?
right on
On
time.
time.
So I am now um, working as an assistant dean and going to school, and the two don't clash. I'm studying while I'm working, depending on making sure that my job in the office is done. I'm dealing with the girls, and now I have a different tenacity in me. I have a different focus. Now it's like it's all or nothing. It's do or die. Like
Right.
it's a desperation. And for those who may be thinking, "Okay, girl, it's not that deep. Like, chill out."
It was
It
that deep for
was
you.
it was that deep
Yes.
for
And
me.
it's
For some,
always that deep when you want it.
exactly. And for someone who had already failed so many times, this is it. I have no more room for failure, you know? So I'm going through this program, and now it comes to I do really well the first semester. I do really well the second semester. And now it's the third semester, it's the summer semester. And everybody knows
Mm-hmm.
that this is the semester that makes or breaks you, because teachers are cramming in all this information
Because we got to
in,
get it in.
they're cramming all this information in like 12 to 14 weeks. Plus, we're doing clinical. So I'm in class, I think probably like Monday through Friday. I'm still working, but the job is not giving me enough what it is that I need. So I pick up another job because I'm paying my way through school. So I pick up another job. And I remember calling my mom, and I did this TikTok video. I call her saying, "Hey, can you help me out a little bit? Because, school is getting intense now. And, I really don't want to have to juggle 2 jobs while being in nursing school." But my mom was just kind of like, "Nah, we helped you with the first degree. So you on your own with the second one, you know?" And as much as I was initially irritated with that, 'cause I'm
Of
thinking like, "Mom,
course.
you're supposed to help me." It
You
was
see,
my
I'm trying.
Yeah, you see, I'm trying, right? And it was my entitled thinking that because I'm doing what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, that she's supposed to help me. But that really wasn't the case, and I can't be, and I had to soon quickly realize that I can't be mad at her for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because what it also, I thank her now for it, because what it did was that it really put me into this grind mode to where now it's like that was super, super hard. So anything else in life that comes my way, I know I can do it because I tap back into that beast that I was when I had to do that. So there would be times where I would leave work. I got a job as a tech, and there would be times where I would leave work, get out of my tech scrubs, and get into my clinical scrubs and go to class. Or I would sleep in my car for about an hour or two and then go to work. And God really set me up with a really good community of people, because when I would go to work at that hospital, there would be nurses there who were invested in me succeeding.
I
So
love that.
they would tutor me, show me how to critically think, putting two and two together, really motivate me to make sure that I still keep myself focused. And I remember there was a time where I was had me as a sitter for a patient who had like alcohol withdrawals. But every time I would get there, it wouldn't be anything crazy. Like sometimes when you be getting them sitter cases, it'd be like some
You
real
gotta make sure you
shenanigans.
up and down, trying to make
Uh-huh.
sure they stay in the bed.
But they paired me with this one guy. He was like, "Hey, what you doing?" And I was just kind of, I'm a nursing student. So I'm studying for nursing school. Why is this man helping me study for my nursing classes? The patient, okay.
Because
So,
people will see you and they'll see your light and they'll see your
mhm,
purpose and they will
mhm,
want to help you.
mhm. So, everybody's hand is in the pot trying to help me
Mhm.
succeed. And I was super, super thankful for that. And it gave me even the more zeal and work ethic to keep pushing and to keep trying to, do better. And so now I'm at this point, I make it through the summer semester. So now the class done dropped by like 50%.
Mm.
We started off with, I think, maybe like 35. And I think we're
Girl.
now at like 17.
So you already looking around like, dang, everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
you're in your
Mm-hmm.
head a little bit, and
Yep.
you don't want to be in your head because you want to keep your eyes to the front and be like, they're them having their
Mm-hmm.
obstacle has nothing to do with me. So I'm not
Correct.
gonna take what they did and internalize that. But most of the time you're looking at it like, I thought they were doing good. And then they
Correct.
just kind of dropped off.
Correct. Correct. And that's what you'll see in nursing school, is that, who you started with is not going to be who you end with.
Mm-mm.
And like I said, it separates the motivated from the disciplined. So you have to ask yourself, who do you want to be, motivated or disciplined? And I'm gonna choose discipline every time. And
That's a
so
word.
yeah. So I now am going through the finishing off the semester. And I remember I had this teacher, for whatever reason, I don't know what I did to her, I don't know what happened, but she just was, honestly, I feel like she was plotting to have me kicked out the program for me to fail. And this is a whole another conversation on its own, these nursing programs that are toxic as hell. But I remember she was going around, it was midterms, and she was telling people, like, okay, this is what you need to do to pass, or, your grade is too low. I advise that you may want to withdraw now. Now is the time to withdraw and try again next year, or whatever the case may be. And I had a 73 in the class, and you needed a 75 in order to pass.
And
My
you're a
friend,
midterm.
and this is midterm, and we still had like maybe 2 or 3 tests left and a project and some quizzes and all that kind of stuff. And my friend, she had like a 60 something in the class. And she told my friend, oh, if you just get these kind of grades on these next few tests and make sure you do really good on all your quizzes, then you'll pass the class. You'll be just fine. I get to her and she told me, yeah, girl, just go ahead and withdraw. Just go ahead, and I advise that you withdraw. And I'm like, I have a 73. Like, I'm 2 points away from passing at midterm, you know? So why do I have to withdraw? But my friend, because she came back and told me what she told her,
Mhm.
and my friend can stay in the program. I said, okay, I got your number. Say less. I'm not withdrawing this class. So at this point, something told me, just keep checking your test, keep checking your test. And one of the things that they would do was that they kept grading my test with the wrong answer key. So they had multiple versions of the test to prevent cheating. So
Mhm.
I would have test A, but they would use test C to grade my test. So it looked like I got the answers wrong, but in fact, you're just using a different answer key.
Oh, girl.
So I went back and I checked my test, and it was, I noticed that there was 10 points that they had to give me back. 10 points. Wow, I should
Girl.
have gotten like a 70 something. I got an 80 something.
This and it's so sad, and I'll speak for what I have seen in nursing school, and a lot of us will see this when we go through nursing school and PWIs or even sometimes at HBCUs. We will find that we have to go back, double check, triple check, quadruple check everything in order to get our rightful grades. A similar situation happened to my friend where, and this is the first episode
Mm-hmm.
of the Evolved Nurse podcast she was
Mm-hmm.
on.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a similar situation where the teacher just simply didn't like her. And she would do great in didactic, but this this particular nurse or teacher would like bully her. So at midterm, she waited until after midterm to tell her, "You're not doing a very good job.
Wow.
And so I'm not going to pass you."
Mm.
So my friend did all the work in order to try to get back into the program because essentially she had gotten, delayed a semester. So she went during the summer, did all of these things, and they still, in the end, they gave her a scenario that was for Med Surge 2 when she had just completed Med Surge 1. So she had to do a
Wow.
simulation, and they used a disease process that she hadn't even seen before
Mm.
to keep her back.
Mm.
So when we're looking at these programs and we're speaking about them, don't think that we're being bitter. When we
Mm-mm.
talk about the
Mm-mm.
actual experiences that we are having as student nurses, and then to come into nursing and not see people who look like us all the time, you can only imagine how that hinders you mentally. Because
Mm-hmm.
now you're thinking, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So not only do you have to fight through the obstacle of, yeah, I'm motivated, but I really don't want to
Yep.
do this. You also have to fight through the, I don't feel worthy to be
Supported.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't feel supported. I don't feel worthy. I also feel a little bit of imposter syndrome.
Yep.
All
Yep.
those factors play, but you have to look at it like, well, again, it's grind time. I got to get to it.
Yep. Correct. 100% correct. And once I realized that, but it what it does in these moments, it does test how bad do you want it,
Mhm.
but it also shows that I can't do this in my own strength. Like God put a lot of resources and tools to help me accomplish this, and that's who I really leaned on. And when I think about, your podcast, The Evolved Nurse, like I'm thinking, you know, these situations caused me to be evolved. I had
Mhm.
no choice but to evolve. And now, because I had to work so hard to get to this goal, now that as I am a nurse, I'm not losing it for nobody. Like,
Girl.
I'm not losing it for nobody. I have something worthwhile to live for. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I'm gonna protect it at all costs. So as I just to make the how black people we say make a long story
Long story
short,
short.
and but then give you the long story.
Exactly.
To make a long story short, I ended up graduating that nursing program. I think it was summa cum laude or cum laude. It might have been just cum laude, but
It don't
I
matter because
graduated
it was thank you, Lottie.
laude a whole lot of. I know it was a whole lot of thank you laudes. Okay, I ended up graduating, and it just it was a journey that when I look back on it, I thank God for it.
Mhm.
But it has now given, and hence the reason why Zulu Nurse was created, to help other nursing students matriculate through nursing school and overcome those obstacles. Because that's all people really need is help, is
Mhm.
learning how to regroup their mind to overcome those obstacles. I had to overcome a mental obstacle. I had to overcome a characteristic flaw obstacle. I had to overcome a financial obstacle. I had to overcome an enemy, if I could call it that, obstacle.
You
A
just
lot of
tripping over everything, but Imma get up.
listen, yeah, and sometimes I did fall, but I dusted myself and kept going, and that's what you have to do in order to achieve the goal.
That was a wonderful word. Oh my goodness. Because I'm so serious. So many people need to hear that
Mhm,
because it financially, mentally, and then accepting accountability, it is hard for
mhm,
people to accept the accountability that I'm not
mhm,
doing all that I can right now.
mhm, mhm,
Everybody wants to feel like I'm doing what I can. I'm doing what I can. And I remember feeling like that. Like I feel like I'm doing everything that I can. Like I'm trying to figure out ways to study. I'm doing all of these things, but when you have that dramatic moment where you fall in
mhm,
the floor and you
mhm,
crying and you don't know where else to go, that does something to you. That changes some things for you, especially if you're
mm,
very intentional about it.
mhm. We correct, 100%.
And when you lead with, look, this the work has to be done. I know what my purpose is. I know that I was given the gift. I just know it. So you have to move with that because if you don't, you'll consider like your purpose was nagging at you for a long time.
Mhm,
It was like I
mhm,
failed here. I'll be okay. I'll get another degree. It is what it is. And then it
mhm,
pops up again and again and again.
mhm.
So you have to do what you feel like your calling is.
Yep.
But we are ending and coming to the close of our episode. Is there anything that you want to say to our student nurses or those who are graduating?
To the ones that are graduating, congratulations. You're
Yay!
right. Yay, is right. Those sleepless nights were definitely worth it. And you're about to enter into a new journey.
Mhm.
And you finish one journey so you can close that chapter. But don't want you to forget the lessons that you learned in that journey, because
Mhm.
you're going to need those lessons as you go through your profession and your career. And we see a lot of stuff on TikTok and Instagram about how what nursing is today. You have to take it and make it your own story.
Mhm.
And you have to take it and make it your own story and just be ready for that. And for those who, like I said earlier, who are seeing their friends graduate, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. Cheer them on. Cheer them on anyway. Don't be bitter. Don't be a hater. And just know that your turn is coming. Yeah.
Cuz ours came and
Mhm.
we did not make it with a complete semester
Mm-mm.
going through the program and then ending up at the end with the same people that we came in with. I watched
Correct.
people who I started with end up going. I started accelerating. I ended up traditional. Like
Mhm.
everything happens for a reason.
Mhm.
And you have to find the people, the tribe, and the drive to get to where you need to be.
Correct. 100% correct.
Well, all right. Where can they find you?
You can find me at Zulu Nurse on all platforms, Instagram and TikTok. I have a vaginal health business, as she stated earlier, where I sell vaginal health drinks for women
Hmm.
and just promoting all vaginal and reproductive health. And that is a Yoni Potion, YoniPhotion, Yoni Potion with a PH. And that's how you can find me. And I do respond to my DMs. I answer nursing student questions all the time. And so please do not hesitate. I'm very approachable. Do not hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help.
I love an approachable nurse.
Yes.
Well, if you have made it to the end of this episode, thank you for listening. We really, really appreciate you for coming on. For those who have graduated, congratulations. The NCLEX is up next, and you have it. You got it in a bag. Don't overthink it. You got this. And for those who are coming into nursing school, Have some drive, have some dedication, and you'll make it through. With that being said, if you have any questions or concerns, you can go over to our Instagram. It's at the Evolved Nurse. Or you can email me your questions and you just might hear them on the next episode. And that is theevolvednurse@gmail.com. I hope you all have a great day and y'all go have some fun. Y'all graduated. Bye.